Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Law of Attraction Radio Network. And of course, you know who I am, Constance Arnold, host of the Think, Believe, and Manifest talk show. So grateful, so thankful that you made a decision to join me from all over the world. You better put your seatbelt on today because I have a powerful show for you. I believe that the Spirit of God has attracted you here and that you're going to receive exactly what you've been searching or praying for. Well, it's a beautiful day here in the hot ATL. All is well. And I'm just so grateful. Thank all of you so much for your wonderful emails telling me about how this show has shifted and changed you. Remember, I want you to come on my show and share your testimony, share your story so that it can help others. So I'm going to get right to it today. My show will be in two parts. Part one, have a special guest. In part two, I think I'm going to teach on stop wanting, stop waiting, and have it, or how you can use your imagination to manifest anything. So by the time I get to part two, I'll know what I'm going to call it. But I want to remind you to follow me on social media, Law of Attraction Constance on both IG and TikTok, LOA Constance on Twitter, and Coach with Constance on Facebook, and of course, my YouTube channel. So make sure you follow me there. And guess what? Drum roll, please. My annual, which I missed out last year because of the pandemic, my annual retreat is on October the 15th at Eagles Landing Country Club. Y'all, we're going to be in luxury. And it's for 10 people only. I already have already five or six who are just waiting for my assistant. By the way, y'all pray for her. Her daughter is sick, so it will be up on the website on Monday. So I'm going to be teaching you about it's your time. Stop waiting, stop wanting, and manifest, or how to manifest anything quickly, or how to pray, imagine, and manifest. So you're going to be with me and 10 other women. You go, and guys, I'm gonna get you later on in the year. Don't feel left out. And you're going to have a chance to experience my one-on-one coaching. This is how it's going to look, a snapshot of the day. But of course, you could go to my website, fulfillingyourpurpose.com, and check it out. We're going to get that 9 a.m. I'm going to have y'all some coffee and some fruit and all of that ready for you. We're going to be in a very intimate setting. You're going to be with 10 other women from all over the U.S. I already know California, New York, whereas Maryland, D.C., Georgia, from all over. And I'm going to be dealing with your mind, changing your paradigms, taking a look at what's holding you back. Why are you waiting instead of manifesting? I'm going to talk a lot about imagination, how to get clear about what you want. When you leave me that day, you're going to know how to manifest anything. So go to my website, fulfillingyourpurpose.com. And if you want me to hold a slot for you, email me. If it's not up there yet, email me at constance at fulfillingyourpurpose.com and I will hold that for you. Well, I have a special guest, Miss Jamie. She is one of my clients, and I asked her to come on and share some of her awakenings, how her life has transformed. I have not talked to her or told her, right, Jamie, or
Yes,
told you what to say, but
yes.
her life is so new. I'm just amazed at the life that she's living. So, Jamie, welcome back to the Law of Attraction Radio Network. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing fantastic,
You
Constance.
you look beautiful. Wow.
Thank you.
I'm glad I brought my A game today. So, Jamie, go ahead and just start sharing. When I first met Jamie, how many years ago?
Oh my
I
gosh.
Jamie invited me to they paid me a lot of money, y'all. They flew me up. No, I drove up to Raleigh, North Carolina to speak to the company that
Yeah.
she was working for. And I think were you 100 pounds more than
Oh, yes. I
uh,
was at my absolute highest weight at that point.
okay. And
Yes.
so not only has Jamie lost the weight, but she's lost the emotional, psychological weight and is living her best life. So the floor is yours. Go ahead, Jamie.
I'm so glad you said that because that's actually what the first thing I wanna say is you always say on your show, you say that term, living your best life,
Mhm.
living your best life. And I'm like, man, I want to live my best life. But the past 2 years, I found and I discovered, and this is what I want to share with the listeners, is
Mhm.
that in order to live your best life, you have to be authentic with yourself.
Mhm.
And when you make a decision to be and live authentically, that's when you can live your best life. And when I made that decision to step into one of the hardest parts of my journey so far, Constance, I've worked
Mhm.
with you for years. We went through shifting jobs and we went through
Oh
um
yeah. Jamie will leave a job in a minute, but I think she's gonna stay on this one.
I
But keep
am
going.
releasing weight, just starting a business. And this part of my journey was a transformation in my relationship or my marriage. And I decided that I needed to be real with myself. I needed to be real with my ex-husband at the time. And I made a decision that I was going to go through the process of divorce. And this process was one of the toughest things that I have ever been
Mhm.
through in my life. But I want to share about it
Okay,
because
go ahead. And I
now
told you, I said, Jamie.
you did. Sometimes I'm hard-headed.
Okay,
And or sometimes I don't. You tell me things and it just doesn't, it takes a while for it to catch up with
I
me,
got
right?
you.
And so it was it was tough emotionally, and I'm going to share a couple things that I learned through the process.
Okay.
The first thing that I learned when you make that type of decision and you choose to really walk your authentic path for your life, you have to be comfortable being misunderstood. You have to be comfortable with your decision. You have to be confident to be able to walk through this journey. If you know that this is a decision that you want to make. And that was one of the toughest things. And you work with me because I was very codependent. I always thought about what other people had to think about my choices and
Mhm.
how they wanted me to live my life. And that kept me and held me back from being real about what was going on for a very long time.
Mhm.
Because I was so concerned about what other people had to say. And so, my first tip for anybody listening is that you have to be okay and get comfortable with being misunderstood, and it's okay because it's your own
Mhm.
individual journey, it's your own authentic path. And it's going to look crazy to some people. It's not going to make sense to maybe your family members. Constance, I talked to you through that with a lot of sessions.
Mhm.
And it at the end of it all, it's okay because it's your decision.
Yeah. And you felt like that marriage was no longer working for you.
Yes. And it was tough to even say that. It was tough
Yeah.
to even say the words that I don't think this is working for me anymore.
Mhm.
Like to even say those words, it took a lot. It took a lot to be real. It took a lot to be honest with myself. I always, say I want to be real with other people or I always tell the truth, but are you telling the truth to yourself? Was I telling the
Mhm.
truth to myself about how I really felt and where I really was in this season of my life? So that was a tough thing to get through, but we did get through it. I did get through it.
Wow. And when she said we, cause
I was
I'm a part, and it is a hard decision. I always say me making a decision to get a divorce because it wasn't right anymore.
Right.
was the hardest thing? I know some of you are listening right now, and I have never seen Jamie this happy before.
Yeah.
That's why I had, and she had to work through loss and
Yes.
routines and
Yes, which was another thing. And let me say one more thing before I go to my second. I also want to speak to people who are in relationships that are not so violent. Like most of the advice that I got were people automatically think worst case scenario.
mhm,
But there's a group of people, Constance, that they may not have like this, battling a marriage or relationship, but they still feel that there's something's just not right here.
mhm,
Something's shifting, something's changing. And that part was difficult because I didn't have a lot of people to relate to. So it really was a journey of, okay, let's walk this thing out step by step. Let's walk these emotions out. Let's walk how I feel step by step out, one thing at a time. So there's help for people like that too.
yeah.
I want
Because a lot
that.
of people are in loveless marriages.
Yeah,
And so,
that's
see, you're sharing so much information. You know, I'm going to push the time up because I gave you how much time you had. Don't worry about that.
okay.
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 So a lot of people are in loveless marriages, or maybe you got married young. I'm not advocating divorce, but I know that when you're talking about being authentic, it's that's the way I felt. I'm like, God, this isn't working for me.
Yeah.
And I had to make the decision, one of the hardest decisions. Okay, go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, yeah. And so with that decision was grief. I learned a lot about grief.
Hmm.
I learned that you could grieve even if someone is still with you or still
Mm.
alive. Like it's a spiritual death. And I had to grieve the ending of a relationship, over a decade of being in a partnership or relationship. I had to grieve my old mindsets and what I used to think about myself and what
Oh,
I
you teaching now, Jamie. Go
what
ahead.
I used to think and what I used to feel and how I used to operate. That you literally grieve who you were, and you have to be able to walk into the newness of who you are. It's what you say is you have to get it in your consciousness.
Yeah.
And when you get it in your consciousness, sometimes there's a process, and I really had to learn how to be patient with myself. I had to learn one thing you would tell me, because I coach with Constance throughout this process. I would call and I would be crying and feeling horrible or feeling all these emotions. And you would say to me the simplest things, but it changed my world. Jamie, that's normal. Jamie,
Hmm.
it's normal for you to feel like that. And so you gave me my homework. I had to research grief, the stages of grief, and it's different for everybody. Some people, it may look different for each person, but for
Hmm.
me, it was just coming out of that old consciousness into a new consciousness. I literally grieved it. I was sad some days. Some days I was okay and some days I was happy. But it was definitely a process of emotions. All
Yeah.
emotions. And
Well,
I
the
could
well, the old Jamie died.
yes.
And
Yes.
so you're discovering, exploring this new Jamie, this new consciousness, this new way of thinking,
Yeah.
new way of who am I now?
Yes.
And so it is not an easy thing. So Jamie would say, I'm fine. And I would say, no, you're
No,
not,
you're not.
because it is a transformational uh exchange of a new consciousness, a new way of being, thinking, living, etc.
Yeah, and one thing, if I was to encourage anyone who has either made that decision or is thinking about making a decision, um, people, close people, family members would say, well, well, you made the decision, so you should be fine. But that's
Mhm.
not true. Like, just because you've gotten to this place in your life where you've had to make a choice, and it's not an easy choice, doesn't mean that you still don't grieve who you were or who you were with or whatever the situation may be. You still are allowed, allow yourself to still process and feel those emotions regardless of how you got there.
So true. You're grieving the loss of what you thought would be. You're
Yeah.
grieving the loss of the dream of what you thought that marriage would be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. And that
Oh,
was tough. And I would say too, um, get help and get a circle of support, not necessarily friends. My friends were there, as I needed them, but also my support was, you had some online groups that I joined that will support
mhm,
me. There are online divorce support groups that you recommended. I had to find the right group. It took me.
mhm.
I was fighting you on that one, but but eventually I got there. So
Mhm.
don't enclose yourself into just friends and family, but find your tribe of support. Work with a therapist or a life coach to help you through that process. Because I'm telling, I don't know that I could have done it without having a life coach
Yeah.
to help me
Slash
understand.
therapist.
Therapist, yes, to help me
Mhm.
understand what I was feeling, how I was feeling, what to do with what I was feeling, how to make new decisions. I could not have done that without that type of support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus you have children. What
I
else do you want? And you have to consider what the children are feeling and how they're processing everything.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
And so now it's been over a year now, almost 2 years, and I'm
Wow.
on the other side of it, and now, oh god, I didn't think I would get here, Constance. There were days where I didn't see the light. I didn't think I would ever be able to feel how I feel today. And
Which
how I
is
feel today is amazing, confident, love, peace, joy. And it's not to say that I didn't have those things before, but this is
mhm,
just a new level. This is a new level of me, a new level of knowing me, getting to know me, um, and giving myself those things too.
mhm,
So real briefly, I made a decision I was going to take myself on a solo trip to celebrate this newness.
mhm.
And so I took a solo trip out of the country, and it was amazing. It was freeing. It helped me show myself that I can do this. I can walk out. I can walk this life. I can experience new things. I'm open to receiving abundance and love and joy and just the fullness of life in this new half of where I am. And it's just a different chapter of my life. Chapter 1 was important, chapter 2 was important, but now I'm in chapter 3 and it's just as important, and I'm going to enjoy it to the fullness, and that's what you're saying, and that's what's on the other side of you making a decision to be authentic to who you are and to walk in your path and in your light of who you are.
Well, I tell you, what can I say behind that? And it's so true. But Jamie did the inner work. She did the hard work. I mean, there were days. Were there any days, Jamie, where you felt like, can I go on?
There were days where I don't know if I can say this on your show, but
You
there
can
were
say
days
whatever. I want you to tell
that
the truth.
yeah, there were days, Constance, that it got so tough that I didn't wanna live.
Hmm.
I did not think life was important. I wanted to escape the reality of where I was. I wanted to
Hmm.
escape the reality of my decision.
Hmm.
I felt like I had crushed my children. I felt guilty. I felt like a failure. I felt like a disappointment to people. I felt like a disappointment to myself. And I didn't feel like life was worthy of even going on.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
I
I remember I said, Jamie, now if you start having any crazy thoughts, what you gonna have them?
Yes, you
Text
did
me.
tell me. You did. And
Text me.
It was important. That was important, and that's when we started to discuss what grief is and how it makes you feel, because I didn't know. I didn't
Mhm.
recognize that that's what I was actually experiencing was grief. And so learning that it's okay to feel how I feel right now. I don't have to make decisions. I don't have to figure out all my life right now in this moment.
Mhm.
I don't have to think about how this is going to affect my children in the next 20 years. Like, not in that moment. That's
Mhm.
not what I needed to do. I needed to just be healing and going through that process and doing the inner work. Seriously doing the inner work.
You really did the inner work, and so Jamie, what about now? I was hard on Jamie. I
Yes.
said, Jamie, you know what I'm getting ready to say. Jamie, Jamie, you're not ready for a relationship yet.
Oh my gosh, yes, you told me, I didn't wanna listen.
I understand.
Because you get lonely. Like, I've been with someone all these years, and now I'm by myself. I'm like, "Constance, this is not working."
But what I said to her was, and what I say to all of my clients, I want you to be happy, but the issue is when you are healing, you're in a lower vibration and
Yes,
you're making choices from that place.
yes,
So I just, now that you're at a different place and you're happy and you're joyful and you're grateful and all of that, you would.
totally different experiences.
Mhm.
'Cause I didn't listen, and
Mhm.
I tried. I was like, "You know what? Constance don't know what she not I'm not listening to Constance." And it highlighted my insecurities in
Mhm.
myself,
Which were?
which were, you hear all these bad things about dating. That was like highlighted times 100. I
Mhm.
kept meeting those experiences because I really truly that's where I was vibrating from.
Mhm.
I was meeting people with the same qualities as my ex. So, I knew that I was still in that same vibration. So I wasn't getting anywhere. I really
Yeah.
I wasn't getting anywhere. And then, I don't know, something clicked and I realized that that's not what I needed to do. And I started to use that energy in myself. And I started thinking, like, well, that's what made me do the trip. Because I was like, how can I love on myself? And how can I gift myself? And how can I show myself this love that I'm
Mhm.
desiring on the outside of me? You kept telling me, Jamie, it comes from the inside out. And so now I get it, Constance. And um I'll say when you vibrate higher, you attract people that are vibrating higher as well.
Yeah,
So
there's no doubt about it. So here you are, and you've released. You got back at you released how much weight?
yeah, so I'll small win real quick. I have released 80 pounds during the pandemic. I gained about 27 pounds. I gained 26 pounds back.
Okay.
And as of today, I actually have released that 27 pounds back.
That
So I'm
that's not
back.
that's not that's not a small win. That's a major win.
Yes, yes. So I hit my first goal actually. And that was another thing too. You recommended that I get back focused on my health, and so I got back in the gym. I joined this amazing program to focus back on my eating habits. And so
Mhm.
all of that plays a part into your spiritual well-being, how you look and how you feel. All of that plays a part in your spiritual well-being and how you vibrate and what you're manifesting too.
So let's talk about the law of attraction. How are you using that? Because you're just like a little Christmas tree. And when you sent me the pictures of you on your trip, I'm like, aha, she's living her best life.
Yes. And you don't have to work for stuff when you're
Mhm.
attracting. When you are vibrating from the core of authenticness.
Authenticity.
There
Uh-huh.
we go. I'll make
That's
that
a
work.
hard question. That's a hard
Yeah.
word.
But when you're vibrating there, things kind of just come to you. So I got two promotions on
Mhm.
my job that I they actually sought me out. So that increased some things in my life. So that was amazing. And then the resources for me to go on this trip, it was easy. Like it wasn't a struggle. I was looking at trips before. I could never figure out the dates. I couldn't figure out what I was going to do with the kid. It was just, it was difficult. But once I got into that vibration, it just flowed. Like things just flowed. The resources to take care of the trip just flowed. The dates just flowed. So things just it's easier.
Well, you are the thing. So
Right.
when you become love, you attract love.
Yeah.
When you become abundance, you attract abundance. When you
Yeah.
become whole, you attract wholeness. So you're not going outside of yourself.
Right.
Things come to you. When you become confident, your employer sees that,
Yeah.
comes to you and say, "We want to give you a raise and promote you."
Yes. And even like when I was on vacation, I was like, man, am I gonna be alone on this trip? No, I would sit down and people would literally come to me and ask me, "Oh, I like your dress," or "I like your
Mhm.
earrings. Where are you from?" And so I never felt lonely on my trip. I met people from all over the world,
Mhm.
and I had some of the most amazing conversations. I made some of the amazing connections, that, I'm still in contact with some of those people that I met. So,
Wow.
yeah, so it's like it just expands who you are, and it allows you to attract exactly what you've been wanting without the
And
effort.
and and so you see you are demonstrating what I'm going to be teaching in part 2, which is basically you can stop wanting when you become the thing. When
Yeah,
you become loving yourself, when you become loving your life, when you become loving your job, when you become all of that, you become very attractive. And I wouldn't be surprised. I shouldn't even say this, Lord. But I wouldn't be surprised if love does not find you
yeah, yeah,
because that's who you are right now.
yes,
Because life always happens through you and not to you.
yes. And you can feel a difference constantly. I can feel the difference of the space I was in where what I wanted was outside of me. It
Hmm.
was it wasn't touchable. It was something I wanted versus now, I don't know, it's just like this. I am it.
Okay, we can tell you think you all of that, Jamie, and you are. And like I said, you're demonstrating when I'm going to share a little bit in part 2, which is basically whatever you want, get clear about it, write it down, and
Yes.
then begin to think about what would your life look, feel, and be like if you had that. How
Yeah.
would you be feeling? What would you be doing? Begin to imagine that independent of what you may see in the 3D world, which is just the five senses.
Mm.
Begin to be grateful and happy right where you are. And I say, if God has to pass through 7 billion people to get to you what you desire, your vibration is so powerful, you pull it to you.
Yes.
You
Absolutely.
know, they say actually when you imagine what you want, you're really rearranging energy and light and atoms
Mm.
to align with what you desire. So if I desire this, what color is this? This orange dress, and I get in alignment and see myself in that light,
Mm.
untapped energy, and the atoms on a subatomic level will begin to arrange to bring me this.
Yes.
That's how powerful we are, and you're a demonstration of that.
Yes. Yeah.
So, what's next on your agenda, Jamie?
Um, the only other thing that I'll say is make sure anytime you make a big decision, so mine was to go through the divorce process.
Hmm.
But anytime you make a big decision, make sure you allow yourself the time to reflect
Hmm.
on that process before you go out and try to go dating or doing making big decisions or doing all kinds of things. Make sure you take time to be still, be in the silence, reflect, write down lessons learned, write down what you experienced, how you felt, because that's important. Because sometimes, Constance, I do, once you get to the next level, sometimes you can forget, like, how did I get here again? So make sure that
Hmm.
you take the time that you need to get through to reflect and see what those lessons were and what you gained from that experience.
So,
Because another thing you told me is, Jamie, not
I,
starting
I, I
over, you're starting from experience.
yeah, I
And so
did say that. That's profound.
yes.
Hmm. Jamie said, I feel like I said, no, you're not starting over. How can you start over when you gained all of this revelation, wisdom, when you are transformed? How are you starting over?
Right.
You're starting from experience.
Yes.
And so, Jamie, a lot of you want to do, okay, I'm over this now. What do I need to do? What's my purpose? What's my destiny? And I
Yep.
told Jamie, I said, just chill. What will happen is as you transform,
Yeah.
you will automatically know, hmm, now I feel like I'm ready to do YouTube videos.
Yes. Yes.
There's no force, there's no struggle. It's organically natural for you. Am I right?
Absolutely. Yes. Because I was doing YouTube videos before this and I just had to stop. And I was like, okay, I think it's time. It's time. Looking at the clock, it's time. You're like, no. But now, how I feel now, I'm in a place where I can share. I'm in a place where I've reflected so I know what it is that I
Hmm.
feel like will help people move and navigate through that process of their life if they're going through something similar. So, yeah, just take your time through your journey. It's no rush. There's no rush to get to a finish line. Just take your time because life is unfolding. Life is not hard stops. It's about unfolding. It's about us taking our time and really evolving and becoming who we are today. This Jamie today has been evolving over this time, but I had to
Hmm.
take my time to grow through that process.
I'm so proud. You sound like you're a coach or something, Jamie. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank you so
Uh,
much, Constance.
it was difficult.
Yes.
I was very hard on her and compassionate
Yes.
and a lot of other things.
Yeah.
But look at you now.
Yes. Yes. When I look back, I'm telling you, there were days I was in the bed days at a time,
Hmm.
days at a time. And now when I reflect on that, I'm like, wow, I didn't think I could make it through. I really didn't think that I would be at this point, but here I am. So
Yeah,
it's possible.
yeah.
It's
I knew
possible.
you would. That's why a coach sees the end.
Yes.
I
Yes.
saw I saw this
Yeah.
before it showed up. And so, what do you know? Tell people about your YouTube channel and are
Yeah.
you coaching people on what are you doing, Jamie?
So right now I'm coaching people through my YouTube channel. Free videos. So follow me, find my channel. It's Love and Light J. On YouTube is Love and Light J on Instagram and on TikTok. I love TikTok. So make sure you connect with me there. But I'm going to be posting a lot more about my journey. I'm going to
Hmm.
be answering questions because I had so many questions going through this process and I didn't want to really go to family and friends, but I did want to see somebody that I wish there was more of a presence online with the questions that I had. So I'm going to
Yeah.
make sure that I'm that presence for whoever may need it. So connect with me, Love and Light J. It's all together, one word.
Jay, so
Yeah.
happy for you.
Thank
So
you.
proud of you. I
Thank you.
am not at all surprised.
Thank you so much for pouring into me and
Hmm.
believing me in me and helping me see what you've seen almost from the beginning.
I saw it from the beginning.
Yeah.
So everybody, y'all go to follow her on her social media platform, and y'all see she can't stop smiling. Some man might see this. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen when this goes global,
Yes.
Jane. And so happy for you. Thank you for your honesty and vulnerability. And are you coming to my
Yeah,
retreat
I
here in the
cannot
ATL?
wait. Yeah, I'm sending my email as soon as we're finished to secure my spot. So whoever's coming to Atlanta in October, I will be there. So I cannot wait to meet some of you in person. And I'm always stalking your pages. So I'm actually friends with a lot of people that comment. So I can't wait to be there and meet
So
everyone.
it's a country club, beautiful.
Oh my gosh, yes. It is beautiful. The last one that I went to, it was an amazing day. You're gonna
Yeah,
leave full. I mean, you're going to leave transformed. There,
yeah.
there's no doubt. There's no doubt about that.
And I'm so different now because of the pandemic, and God has just put so much in me. I'm like Jamie. I'm transformed
Yes.
from the last time I did was 2020 because of the pandemic. So 2021, of course, no. But here we are. Email me, like I said, Constance at fulfillingyourpurpose.com. Y'all stalk Jamie on social media. Share this video, this show with somebody who you know is going through like Jamie. I love you. And guys, then I'm going to come back to you after these quick commercials and just talk to you about how you can quickly begin to transform like Jamie and to use your imagination and your desires to manifest your life. It's the will of God. I love you, Jamie.
Love you. Bye. Thank you, Constance.
You're welcome.